The reasons to leave a religion are different from the reasons to become an atheist. For example, if a religion had scientific errors or illogical things or moral issues, that could be good reasons to leave that religion. But it's not good reasons, nor is it enough, to not believe that there is a God or gods. So leaving religion is one thing, and becoming an atheist is a whole other thing. In this series, I will be only talking about why I left my ex-religion Islam. I will take you step by step on everything I went through which led me to take that decision. Since I was a kid, and until the age of 20, the age at which I realized that Islam is 100% man-made religion. Who is Allah? An unusual question, but luckily I was born with a family that wasn't very strict-minded, which allowed me to ask a lot of questions to which there were no answers from people around me. My first question was, who is Allah, and where did he come from? And I kept asking those questions until people started telling me that I'm committing blasphemy. And the Prophet Muhammad himself warned us from asking that question. Muhammad said, once you find yourself asking who created God, know that Satan, the devil, is tricking you. So the first question that I asked as a kid, who is Satan, and how does he have this ability to trick me like that? It's clear, I thought, that I don't know much about this topic, and I need to study this and learn about it more than my own family knows, and the average people in the street. So I joined a Quranic circle to learn about this. And after years I reached the following answer. In the beginning there was only Allah and he had nothing with him. First he created water, then he created his throne on that water. Then he created the pen and the holy tablet, and told the pen to write everything past, present, and future, so everything that was, is, and will be was written before the creation. Then he created the heavens and the earths in 6 days. Then he created the jinn and angels to serve him. Then he created Adam and told the angels to bow down to Adam. And they, of course, did, except for Iblis, Satan. He refused to bow down to Adam. As a punishment, God kicked Satan out of the heavens and put Adam in paradise. But Adam felt lonely on his own. So God made him Eve, and the whole paradise was theirs, except for this one special tree that was forbidden for them. And God warned them about Satan tricking them into eating from it, and that's exactly what happened. Satan tricked them into doing it, and God was very angry with this, and he dropped Adam and Eve down to earth. After that, Adam and Eve had 2 boys, Cain and Abel, and then God left people for many years without religions, until they started making problems. So, he decided to send Moses with Judaism, but people twisted that religion. So, he sent Isa, or Jesus, with a second religion, Christianity, but they also twisted it. So, God said, that's it, time to send a religion that cannot be twisted, a religion that even the mountains cannot hold. And he chose Muhammad for that job and gave us Islam. And this is the Islamic version of how the universe was made and how humans were made until now. And I blindly followed that story without thinking about it until one day at religion class I asked the teacher, do non-Muslims go to heaven? She answered, no, only Muslims will go to heaven. Even the good people who aren't Muslims, I asked. Yes, she said. Only Muslims will go to heaven and non-Muslims will go to hell, regardless of whether they are good or bad people. I couldn't help but feel something was wrong. Why would Allah burn most people in hell and only let a small number be saved? Even the good ones will also burn if they aren't Muslims. At that time, I knew my teacher must be wrong about this. This cannot be the case. So, I started to try and solve this little mistake my teacher clearly made just to heal this burning doubt that started in my heart, because that was the first time I doubted my religion. It was a very damaging feeling for me and I couldn't stop thinking about it. But my attempt to solve this little issue ended up with me finding many more issues than that little one. Issues that I will be sharing all of them with you in this series. But after years of reading and thinking and asking and searching, I found myself forced into rejecting this silly story. The same story that was once the ultimate truth to me. At the age of 20, I reached the conclusion that based on the sources we have today, Muhammad wasn't a prophet from God, and the Quran wasn't written by the creator of the universe. And Islam is a man-made religion, no doubt about it. But in this episode, I will be only sharing the issues I found in the story of creation after I started using critical thinking. Let's start with the first issue. What was Allah doing before creating the universe, and why did he decide to create the universe and create people to be terrified of him and to worship him at the same time? And where did he come from? Did he just come by chance, or from nothing? That doesn't make any sense. Second issue, where did the water, the pen, the tablet, and the throne come from? In order to have water, we need space and time. So, how did Allah have water without space and time? And the throne, pen, and tablets are things that people randomly made based on their needs 14 billion years after the universe began to exist. And why would he make a throne? To sit on it? Does Allah get tired? They say, no, Allah doesn't get tired, but he made the throne to show off his power. But to whom? To us humans? We never saw that throne to see that power. To who then? The angels? Angels do not have free will and they blindly follow him, so he doesn't have anything to prove to them. And why does he need a pen and a tablet? Does Allah write things down because he might forget them? They say, no, Allah doesn't forget, but he chose to write things down to hold people and angels up to those words. Which brings us to the third issue. Why does he need angels to move things around and do things for him? He's Allah. He can do anything he wants easily. He doesn't need angels. And why did he make them terrified of him and have no free will, and at the same time, force them to pray for him in the Beit el-Mamur, a Kaaba-like house up in the sky, even though they don't have free will? It's as if a programmer made a PC game where the characters are programmed to be afraid of him when he turns off the PC, and they also have to praise him and worship him when he starts the game. What kind of a sick person would do that? God cannot be this narcissistic. The fourth issue, where are those 7 skies and 7 earths? Historically, they thought it was actual skies above us and actual earths beneath us. And when we found out that we are a part of a solar system that is also a part of a galaxy bigger than that solar system, how come we didn't find those skies and earths? So now they say that, no, those skies are things that do not exist in our reality, they are metaphysical skies and earths. The fifth issue, why did it take God 6 days to create the universe? Why didn't he do it in 1 second? They say, to show people how important the universe is. But there were no people to see that happening. The Quran says, Allah never allowed anyone to see the creation of the universe. So Allah could have created the whole universe in 1 second and still told people that it is very important without having to spend 6 days on it, because he is God who is wholly perfect. Which means adding time value to his work shouldn't make that work any better. In other words, if God created the universe in 6 days or in only 1 second, it will still be the work of a wholly perfect God, and therefore it will be perfect both ways. So adding time value to his work should not result in better work. So obviously, whoever wrote those verses had no understanding of basic logic. The sixth issue, if Allah made paradise especially for Adam and Eve and humans in general, why would he keep that special tree in it? I mean, if it's forbidden, why would he put it there and not in some other place? What's even weirder is, if he kicked Satan out of paradise, how did Satan then get back there to trick Adam and Eve? How did that happen? Apparently God cares about weird things he can't protect and has no control over his creation. The seventh issue. After Adam and Eve went down to earth and had Cain and Abel, 2 boys, how did they then multiply? The only way is to say they married their own sister, which is weird because Allah himself says that marrying one's siblings is utterly forbidden. So, how did God let that happen? And even if we agreed on this contradiction that cannot be avoided, how did the human race go on after Adam and Eve? The race cannot carry on out of only one couple. This is scientifically impossible. We have to count the ratio of boys and girls who are a result of sibling sex, which will lead to many genetic illnesses to which they have no cures. So, it's impossible for the race to expand out of those 2 only. Today, we have animals who have a population of 20 to 60,000, and they are still considered to be endangered, because even those big numbers aren't enough for one race to go on. So, how can only a couple of one race carry on to be 7.7 billion people without any serious issues? That simply cannot happen. The eighth issue. Even if we still buy into this, and we said Cain and Abel had no problem carrying on the human race, those humans who lived for so long after them without religions, Those people who kept on creating endless gods, false gods. And Allah is just sitting up there watching them do so. How is it their fault? And will they go to hell? They say, we don't know. God knows what will happen to them. AKA, we have no answer. This is one of those big issues that Abrahamic religions cannot answer, so they use the magical words Allah knows. The ninth issue, after all that time, Allah said, enough time to tell those people what I really want and how to live. So he sends them Moses with the commandments that are from God himself. But humans somehow twisted it. I have no idea how humans can do that to God's work, and the only solution to that issue is that he has to send a second religion with another prophet with different rules. So people who are convinced for good reasons with the first religion, now they have to leave it and convert to another religion for other reasons. Why would he want to confuse things like that? Sadly, humans managed to twist the second religion as well, so the only wise decision now is to send down the third religion, with whole different rules from the first and second religions, the religions that people already believe in and follow, and they have enough reasons to believe they are on the true path. So now we have three religions that are different from each other, and everyone thinks they are on the right path and the others are wrong. Why would he confuse things so much between right and wrong? And what about the kids who are randomly born into those religions? They are told that they are the right ones, and the rest are false. And they will go to hell for not following the right path. How is that their fault? This doesn't sound like a wise God to me. The 10th and last issue, the biggest one, the unclear crisis in this story, which goes all the way back to that pen and tablet. You see, Allah doesn't only know the past, present, and future, he also planned and decided the past, present, and the future. And when he told the pen to write down everything from the beginning till the end, that pen wrote things based on Allah's knowledge and will. And since he's all-wise, this plan is by default the best plan. There can be no plan better than this. So Allah knows everything because he also decided everything. So he knew he would create the universe and create Adam, and he knew he will tell the angels to bow down to Adam, and Iblis, Satan, will refuse to bow down to Adam, and Adam and Eve will go down to earth and will have two boys, and those two boys will have to marry their own sisters, the same thing that is forbidden by the same God. And he knew people will live for a long time without religions after that, and they will make up false gods to explain things around them. And he knew people will twist the religions he sent down, the first religion and the second religion, and the third religion won't be enough to stop people from fighting. On the contrary, those religions will end up slaughtering each other for hundreds of years, not only between each other, but also within each other. And what did Allah say about all that confusion and killing and death in the Quran? If Allah didn't want them to fight, they wouldn't, but Allah does what he wants. He knew about all those things because he wanted all those things. He set things up to be this way, and this is the only way he allowed things to be. It's very clear. No one had any say in the matter, it's all Allah's fault. He's the one who created everything, decided everything, and just sitting down watching. It's not Satan's fault for not bowing down to Adam. God knew that would happen because he wanted that to happen. And it's not Adam and Eve's fault for eating from that tree because God also knew and wanted that to happen. And it's not Satan's work that he tricked Adam and Eve because again, God knew and wanted that to happen. It's all in God's hands. He knows everything, planned everything, and is letting things go as he wants. The first step for me to leave Islam was realizing that this story, which I once thought was the ultimate truth, is just a joke. It's not good enough to even be a story. I'm not surprised my family and others around me still believed it because, turns out, just like me, they were born into this story and believed it without any thinking whatsoever. Just copy and paste. It sounds like a story written by a lazy writer who was writing a children's episode and didn't care much about the details because he knew only kids would watch it. Or maybe a story that is written by ignorant people who lived 1500 years ago and had no real understanding of reality or the world around them and were raised on myths by people who were even more ignorant than them, but they had a big imagination. And I know many people will write the following comment that we keep hearing them getting repeated mindlessly. Allah's knowledge of something doesn't change those things, or the broken example of the teacher and the student, which falls on so many levels. The teacher didn't create the student or anything else and didn't decide anything. Let me help you out, my friends who like to comment on this issue. It's very simple, it's one out of two. Either God knows everything because he wrote things down and decided everything, or things were written down outside of God's knowledge and will, which means it's written by some other entity higher than your God. It's one out of those two, there's no third option.